the the stronger and more healthy our personal boundaries are, the stronger our container of health and well-being is. So if you could just like imagine our imagine yourself as a vessel of life, because you are. Imagine yourself as a vessel of life, and there's a vessel, and water is being poured into the vessel. And we'll just say that the water is your life force energy. And so that vessel ideally is completely sealed tight so that it can maintain the life force energy within it. What happens is, so often, like I said, so often I see this. That's why I'm creating this video, because I'm like, I need to start speaking more about this. I want to start making this more common understanding because it's necessary. And the reason it's necessary to simplify it is I think we're all in agreement that we're in this huge collective process of healing the feminine and masculine energies within us, within our relationships, and within the world. And so what I'm talking about right now is how to really heal the feminine aspect of our energetic system. Again, we all have a masculine and feminine energetic system, no matter who you are and what you identify. They are two forces that govern all life in existence. So the qualities of the feminine are to receive, to hold, to transform. Those are like some of the basic qualities. And in fact, we even have organ systems that do this. We have yin organ systems and we have yang organ systems. And the yin, which is the feminine, yin in Chinese medicine, Y-I-N, it's the feminine. And three main qualities of the feminine is to receive, to maintain, and to transform. Other qualities of the feminine are stillness, silence, cold, dark, damp. It's the mystery, it's the unknown, it's the void, it's the great beyond. So we're going back to this image of you as a vessel. So ideally, your vessel is completely sealed tight so that it can hold and maintain the life force that is its contents. So often when I work with people, what I see is that there are so many leaks in the container, so many cracks where the contents, the life force contents, are leaking out and there's a drain happening. And sometimes what happens is that the vessel ends up imploding on itself. Actually, a lot of times there's actually a combination of an excess and deficiency happening at the same time, where there's leaks and the container is compromised, the integrity of the container is compromised because of the leaks. And at the same time, so it's draining, and at the same time, there's like an excess of more being shoved in. And in this case, I'm not talking about life force, I'm talking about data, input, responsibilities. It just like becomes more and more. And so it's like oftentimes what I see is there's actually both leaks in the container compromising the integrity, and then it's getting overstuffed with just too much on the plate and creating overwhelm and creating an overflowing of the material in the container. And part of why I'm saying this is because, and like I said at the beginning of this video, I work with women a lot, and one of the things, and again, this is relatable to anyone because everybody does this, but women especially, I find, fall into this pattern a lot, which is that when there is not a truly healthy relationship to one's boundaries and personal integrity, the container gets compromised and leaks happen. Typically that's a situation where there's the leaks and then too much getting stuffed in from life, from all directions. Of ultimately, it mostly ends up coming from other relationships, and then there's like work responsibilities and whatnot. But ultimately, where I see it really compromising the container is this pattern that a lot of women have, which is to overcommit because they're trying to please everyone. And especially if a woman is known for being really generous and giving, that woman tends to get called on a lot by the people in her community, because she builds up a reputation for herself that she can show up, she can handle it, and that she's even happy to do it. But what ends up happening is that the pattern starts to snowball, and over time gets bigger and bigger, to where pretty soon she's just living a lifestyle of overcommitment and taking care of everybody else but herself. And then it results in negative patterns of health and well-being, both physically and psychologically, because ultimately she's drained and she isn't aware that she's running a pattern and making choices that keep her in this perpetual overcommitment, because she just wants to make everybody happy and she doesn't want to let anyone down. Okay, so personal integrity is about doing the thing that we know we should do for ourselves. Having a standard of health and well-being, but also just of being a person, having a standard with high integrity for oneself, and putting actions to the words that we speak for ourselves is so important. And so a really easy example of where this plays out in our lives is around our relationship to food. Because our body, it's like our body is like our best example for how the container metaphor like fits into our lives. That's how it works. It's very simple. It's like cause and effect situation, and it's something that we all can relate to, because we all have a body and we all know what it feels like to eat too much, to eat too fast, to eat when emotional, to eat when we're not hungry, to it just to say, oh, I'm not going to eat that anymore, and then turn around and eat 3 bags of it. We all know what that's like. We also know what that feels like in our body. Never feels good. Never feels good. So it's our, in this example, it's like that feeling of not good. It's our body's communication to us of, hey, there's a higher quality of integrity and boundaries and ultimately respect that that one could be giving themselves, if they had just made these choices and created these outcomes. It's like, let that be a reflection and a guidepost for when it's time to choose again when we're going to eat and how we're going to eat and how much we're going to eat and all this, right? So this is just one example that I think is easy to take and then say, now span it out into other areas of life. What are the other, like for instance, how many times I work with people and they are exhausted, and they still keep overcommitting. They still keep, and I don't know if it's because they just want to distract. I think there's different aspects of it.